They. Who is they? Who are we? It's certainly not me in this situation. Good amount of us would like to have more ultra... Huh? No one! This seems to be a pretty big wish list for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Now, I saw quite a few comments praising it, so I wanted to go and check it out for myself. What I agree with, what I disagree with, and maybe a few thoughts about what I would like to see in future Pokemon games as well. Now, if you end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below. But yeah, let's get into it, because what caught my attention, what made me feel like this is worthy for discussion, is how hard this guy goes in at Game Freak. These are our hopes for the future Pokemon games. Hope Game Freak, Pokemon Co. JP, Nintendo, Shigeru Omori will listen to us. Also, if you agree, please like and retweet. Now, oh man, I have so many problems with the way that this is staged because, one, it feels kind of ignorant that if only tagging Shigeru Omori, yes, he is the director of the games, but the thing is, Junichi Masuda is still a producer. He stepped down as director, but he still has a large impact in Pokemon Sword and Shield and future Pokemon games to come. Also, this is about Pokemon Sword and Shield. Problem with that is the games are pretty much done, so they're not going to be able to put in pretty much any new features, let alone an entire laundry list of stuff going on. And another thing I don't like about this, our hopes. Us. Like, retweet, you know, just trying to get that opinion out there because this is what Pokemon fans want, this is what matters. Now, I haven't even read the list yet, so maybe I'll agree with quite a bit of it, but I just don't like the way that this is set up. However, I do feel like there needs to be some kind of outlet to get thoughts to Game Freak, but at the same time, I feel like that's a big problem because what we have learned the most about Pokemon games recently is that it is impossible to please every Pokemon fan. You know, Pokemon Let's Go, that split the community. Pokemon Go, that split the community. Pokemon Generation 5, Black and White, that split the community. It just really seems like you can't get fans to get along. But one thing I really want Game Freak to address is the hacking issue. Just shut down VGC and start up from scratch and actually try to make it to where, you know, either there's something that doesn't disadvantage legitimate players, or at least try to make it to where hacking isn't as successful. But yeah, let's see what we have. We are Pokemon fans since the very beginning. And yeah, this possessiveness, you know, I feel like this is a pretty big problem in the Pokemon community. Just, again, the split as well as how entitled fans feel. So, let's keep going. All the things we would really like to see in the next Pokemon games, Sword and Shield. I mean, I guess by saying things we'd like to see in Pokemon Sword and Shield could still apply as, like, you know, what you would want to see in games after Pokemon Sword and Shield. But again, this seems very front-loaded. I don't really like how heavy this can be. There are a lot of things we've been waiting for years and still can't be found in the game. So this is a recap of everything we feel we need to make the game better and more enjoyable. Man, look at this community representative right here. That's pretty crazy. Now, if you guys came to this video to try to get my thoughts on what I want next Pokemon games, I only want 3 things. I want ball capsules so my Pokemon's balls look pretty again. I want the underground, and what was my third one? I don't even remember. Right. Battle Revolution for the Nintendo Switch, which really doesn't have anything to do with Pokemon Sword and Shield and the main series titles. I just feel like that would be the place to put your competitive Pokemon battling simulator and then host a lot of your competitive VGC stuff off of that. Actually, the first Pokemon VGC tournament, for the finals, they did use Pokemon Battle Revolution, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, like, I don't really care to see too much. Like, I'm not desperate for an open world. I would like to see overworld Pokemon again, but I mean, if that stays in the Let's Go series, we're going to keep seeing it. So yeah, I feel like there's enough to satisfy me across all the various games, and with Sinnoh remakes on the way, asking for an underground, asking for ball capsules seems to be a given. So a free camera. Fixed camera is a really old concept. We would like to rotate the camera as much as we want. I actually, honestly, don't really care about the free camera that much, because I feel like when playing Pokemon, I don't need to be worrying about all that action, active stuff, because that's not really how Pokemon is. Like, yes, for combat games, that makes a lot more sense. I think it does kind of bring in immersion to have a free camera, just kind of look around and enjoy the environment. But when it comes to catching Pokemon, especially if there's no overworld encounters, the free camera doesn't really do much except add a sense of gameplay that doesn't really have anything backing it up. Different difficulty levels. Okay. I hate this. I hate people that are just like, oh, difficulty levels make Pokemon better. I completely disagree with that. You know, it didn't really add anything to Generation 5, especially because you had to beat the game before unlocking the difficulty level, so it just kind of adds a challenge to it. But I mean, if I want to go straight into the competitive, which is the true difficulty of Pokemon, then that really doesn't do anything for me, because I'm not going to reset my game to then put time into the story again to make it harder so it'll take longer to then gate myself out of competitive even more. But the thing is, like, if it's just levels and AI and extra Pokemon, like, Pokemon doesn't have difficulty once you've learned it. You know, you'll eventually understand type matchups, you'll seek out ideas for Pokemon that either evolve into higher base stat totals or have really good typings and coverage like that, and then your gameplay is just going to get easier from understanding. You know, if something is harder, I don't want all my opponents' Pokemon to have, like, 5 more levels, 1 extra Pokemon, and better AI. Like, maybe just the better AI only, because then it actually makes the battles feel intense and competitive. But on that, if I ever get stomped, it's like, cool. Now I have to go back to the previous route, battle all the trainers I skipped, fight 100 Pokemon, and then it'll be a breeze. So all it does is add unnecessary time. And even then, depending on like what stage of the game you're in and how the level scaling goes, you do that once or twice, and then you're already caught up to where the difficulty is. So it's just, you know, a couple hours of grinding, which isn't super fun, to then make it to the point where it's like, oh, now I'm just at the same spot I was. Bigger world maps with a lot of focus on exploration, rewarding exploration, hidden dungeons, secret treasures, etc. Now, I do like that idea, you know, bigger world map, but, I mean, that looks like what we have for Galar. That Galar, you break down all the things, and it just seems massive, and there's going to be all kinds of insane layers of exploration inside of it. But the problem here is hidden dungeons, secret treasures, rewarding exploration. That's not going to work, because we kind of had that with Pokemon Sun and Moon. That Pokemon Sun and Moon, there was 100 TMs, so there's a lot of exploration, there's a lot of post-game, even if you add like Mantine Surf, the Totem Pokemon added in. Sure, there isn't like a lot of hidden stuff to discover, but unlocking everything the game has, there's a lot of content there, and what people ended up doing to get around that? Hacking. So I don't think that feature is going to be appreciated by too many people, and depending on who it's coming from, they already hack their games anyway, since the majority of people cheat in Pokemon at this point. So it's just going to be overlooked, and then it's going to be yelling about, oh, what's that? We don't have any post-game, so Game Freak bad. A more mature plot, at least for the core games, with better animations and cutscenes and main characters showing emotions. I also don't really agree with having a big story in a Pokemon game. Like, I feel like there is so much potential in the vast scale of the Galar region that if there is any kind of complex story, it is going to ruin the experience, because I want to have that exploration. See, that's the problem. You can't have a really detailed story and you can't have free exploration at the same time. To a degree, like, I feel like some people might just like mindlessly shout out like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I mean, you could skip the entire story. So yes, an optional story that does not inhibit my gameplay in any way, that's great. And people yelled at me. People got upset saying that I played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild wrong because I didn't want to partake in the story. I wanted to explore on my own, and then I wanted to beat Ganon on my terms with my jank gear instead of having all the buffs from the storyline. So, I mean, again, you can't please everyone, and there's going to be a lot of things, but if the story gets in the way of this wonderful-looking world, like the gym order seems to be pretty free-flow, it seems like there's all kinds of exploration and just ways and multiple paths you can take, but if I get sucked into a path out of nowhere because of the story, that's going to really upset me. Also, more mature plot. I mean, when you think about it, like the original games had the most mature plot. Pokemon Red and Blue version, there were gangs, gambling, theft, heists, and murder in the original Pokemon games, and the overall bad guy was a Yakuza boss. That's pretty dope. I mean, when you look at all the games, except for Generation 5, the story is actually pretty mature. Generation 5 is some cliche nonsense about a special child who gets misused. That's very lame. But I mean, even when you break down Generation 7, Lusamine created all this like world-endangering stuff to get her husband back from crazy experiments gone wrong. That's pretty cool. We have Generation 3 trying to reshape the world with the most powerful creatures in the world. And Generation 4 is just kind of destroying everything because Cyrus was mentally insane. I mean, the stories are mature. You just have to actually use thought in breaking it down, so I don't really care for having an overwhelming story. We would like to see some of the Betamons returning as official Pokemon. The Yellow Tiger, Farfetch'd original evolution, and the original Legendary Beast, which could be reworked as a different legendary trio. I mean, I feel like some people are way too invested in the Betamons, and I think that that was like this weird trend that started because there was a lot of top 10 lists on YouTube, and then people got really into it. And then when Gorachu happened, everyone's like, yeah, put Gorachu in the next game. Gorachu's gonna be the new Pokemon in the new Pokemon games. I feel like Gorachu just wouldn't work. I'm not someone that wants to see Gorachu. I'm not someone that wants to see a lot of the beta Pokemon because they were scrapped for a reason. But I would like to see some ideas. Yes, we need a far-fetched evolution, but on top of that, we just need an evolution for a lot of already existing Pokemon. You know, just pull a Generation 4 2.0 and not make us wait until Sinnoh remakes, or at least put them in the Sinnoh remakes when we get those next year or something. We would really like to see the ability to link Magikarp Jump mobile game to the Gen 8 titles. It's easy. If you play Magikarp Jump, you get a code used in Sword and Shield that will unlock the different Magikarp patterns be obtained while in that game. Simple variant textures. I think you could do that without having it linked to Magikarp Jump. Use Magikarp Jump as an Easter egg to the actual, or maybe use Generation 8 as an Easter egg to Magikarp Jump because there's a special lake where you can get all these cool different kinds of Magikarp. I would like to fish for that and just RNG it up, and maybe there's like the 0.1% chance super rare cool looking Magikarp that you could grind your life away for. I prefer that over that. So yeah, and the list goes on though. We would really like to see MissingNo become an official Pokemon, as it is really popular and full of mystery. We would like to see Great Polygon Glitch Nemesis, maybe with different forms like Skeletal Kabutops or Lavender Ghost. I mean, I feel like the Lavender Town Ghost should just become its own Pokemon, but that would kind of make the Generation 1 lore really weird, but they did mess that up with Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee anyways, so I don't know. I don't think MissingNo needs to become a Pokemon, but I feel Game Freak should acknowledge it a bit more, and maybe have like MissingNo merchandise or something, just be like, yo, this was a thing, and let's kind of embrace our glitchy little buddy over here. But again, I think like trying to push for having all of this fanfare getting thrown into Pokemon games kind of takes away from what Pokemon is by forcing it into these other ideas that have grown because of the community. Now, I think that is something healthy for a lot of games, but overall, Pokemon already does a lot of things that are very fan-oriented, so I don't think we need to go super far with everything that's ever existed in Pokemon. Like the next one, we would like to see a part of the new Mewtwo movie promotion, the ability to get Clone Charizard, Clone Blastoise, Clone Venusaur, along with Armored Mewtwo, and the new Mythical. That would be a great event, like the old Arceus one. We randomly get one of these, Pokeball collectors will be happy because they also get the Pokemon inside of a Clone Ball. If they actually program the Clone Ball in and it doesn't come in something like a Cherish Ball. I mean, a Clone Ball Pokemon would be pretty cool, but that's a thing. The Armored Evolutions, that's still like a leak that we don't know if it's fake or not. So we're going to see what that happens. I think people are unnecessarily blowing up about copyright. Like, remember Ultra Shiny? Ultra Shiny had nothing to do with any of the new Pokemon games. That was just a TCG set. So copywriting something that is going to get movie merchandise promotion, that's cool, but that doesn't automatically translate into the new Pokemon games. I would like to see some kind of advanced event though, because like the Arceus event in Heart Gold Soul Silver is really cool. The Sinjo Ruins, we need like these extra areas that are unlocked through DLC instead of just scan a code, get Magearna. There are a lot of shiny mythical Pokemon that were forgotten, never distributed. We need Pokemon like blah blah blah. Didn't shiny Tapu Fini? No, it was Tapu Lele that came out recently. So I mean the Tapus are kind of getting support. Original Magearna did get forgotten. AZ's Floette. So I mean there are a lot of Pokemon that have data for them inside the games that did not get some kind of release. So I'm okay with I'm okay with seeing something like that. Shiny Fancy Vivillon, shiny Pokeball Vivillon. I don't think a shiny needs to exist for all the forms, because then that complicates everything with even more events. I feel like we already get too many events and too many mythicals and too many Pokemon that need to be patched in as events anyways. But yeah, like there are a couple holes, but I don't like I said, I don't think every fan thing needs to happen, and I don't think that everything that's ever been released or shown by Pokemon needs to happen. Fix Pokemon bank checks. Some of the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon totems cannot be deposited while others can. Obviously mistake in the whitelist. Wait, still? I thought they fixed that. Yeah, like, that's the problem. This goes back to the hack check. I feel like Pokemon bank checks need to be better for all hacked Pokemon, but the problem is the hack check gets reverse engineered through the data mine anyways, so that's kind of useless. But yeah, this is, like, inexcusable. It feels like Game Freak isn't supporting anything that has to do with illegal Pokemon, but that's pretty much my biggest complaint when it comes to things that Game Freak needs to do. They need to make it to where hacking, they need to make, like, a better, crypto, they need to make just better hack checks, they need to make it harder to get into the game, and then make it to where the game tracks you better so you can't just inject things in. No, there needs to be massive punishment. I don't care if you lose your $60. Overwatch does it. all these other games, PUBG do it. You know, if you cheat, you deserve to lose your game, period. You deserve to have nothing, and you don't get to use online on your Nintendo Switch ever again. Now, I understand people can hack their Switch and get away with like not having that, but I mean, that's why I just want to see that law in Japan that says if you hack your Switch, you go to jail. I want to see that for Pokemon. You hack Pokemon, you get a $5,000 fine or jail time. Pick your poison. And also, my philosophy on Pokemon Bank is that Pokemon Bank cannot happen. We cannot have Pokemon Bank in Generation 7 unless hacking happens. If hacking happens, Pokemon Bank needs to become immediately available. But until then, it should only be the Pokemon available inside the games, and we just start fresh, and hopefully the hack check is good enough. Because without that, the games are going to get ruined, and then no one's going to play them because it's already all the hacking that's been happening over the last half decade. Not good. Alright, there's even more. Even if a lot of people didn't like Rotom decks, it's still a Pokemon. Like to see him as an alternate form of Rotom to use in battle. Nah, I don't need Rotom decks. I could use any other forms of Rotom, but I don't think Rotom decks needs to exist as like a battle form because it wasn't made to be a battle form. You know, it's not going to possess a Pokedex and then actually be strong or anything. Like to see a 3D model of different Zygarde cores and cells, play with them? Nah. People are asking back some of the forgotten official Pokemon in core games. Shadow Lugia, Shadow Mewtwo, Spiky or Pikachu, Cosplay Pikachu. Again, just because everything has ever existed doesn't mean that we should be entitled to it. I feel that this actually works in a really interesting way because you can only experience those Pokemon through their original representation. You know, Spiky or Pikachu staying that way in the original Pokemon games, that's cool. I like that a lot more because, like, you know what? This is the guy. He can only exist here, and he represents a part of the game in a pretty significant way. Same with Shadow Lugia. You know, I don't want all these edgy kids now running Shadow Lugia on every team and stuff. Primal Dialga. I mean, Primal Dialga and Palkia could be Sinnoh shenanigans going on. Betamons from Space World. Again, nah. Like, a lot of this list is just big nah. Because, yeah. People are asking for the Evil Team Pokeballs and the Clone Balls from the first movie, all of the Pokemon balls in the anime. So, and then he linked a picture about this. Transparent Ball is cool. I don't know how they'd make that work for the game. Diamond Ball, I remember that from the anime. Pikachu Ball, Squirtle, Charmander, Bulbasaur. I mean, that was just kind of like how you sell the original concept of the game, so you don't really need it. Captain Ball, Green Ball, Great Balls. I mean, a lot of these we already have. I'm trying to look for balls that would be interesting. GS Ball, I mean, what? GS Ball goes from like this magical thing that was a scrap Celebi event to now you can just buy it out of Pokemart. I don't think that works out. Gold Ball, Pokelantis, Crystal, Clone, Annie's, Oakley Ball, Pester Ball. I mean, there again, it's existed, but I mean, we don't need to have it. The team balls are kind of interesting though. Like if you had a full costume outfit, you might be able to get the team balls in a way. That would be kind of interesting, but I don't think we need to have it. Typing Ball, yeah, like, we already have enough Pokeballs. Do we really need to make breeding more complicated and hacking more prevalent in that way? I think not. As they would like to play on Pokemon Refresh with Megas and Special Forms, they. Who is they? Who are we? It's certainly not me in this situation. Good amount of us would like to have more Ultra... Huh? No one! No one wants more Ultra Beasts. Ultra Beasts didn't need to be in Pokemon Sun and Moon to begin with. That's a couple of Pokemon designs that could have just been regular Pokemon designs and were taken away. And when you look at the interviews, they intentionally made things that weren't supposed to be Pokemon, and they're stupid looking, and they're dumb, and then that means now you have to have more Ultra Space in all the future Pokemon games to make them accessible. And this is why I feel like we can't really have Pokemon Bank again in a way, because like then that means we can just delete the Ultra Beasts permanently, and we don't have to worry about making even more weird things that are going to unbalance competitive and stuff like that. And then strange mons like Pokestar Studio, Aliens, and Monsters. Well, that's because they were supposed to be non-real Pokemon Alien and Monster challenges. I think they can belong like that, but don't make them canon. So most fans expect to see some form of closure for Kalos, especially concerning Zygarde. I don't care. Legendary Pokemon from past gens, Kyurem's original form, original dragon. I mean, I think this guy just spends way too much time on YouTube and listens to stupid theories. We would like to see Megas. Okay, yep. It looks like this ended up being a list of things I don't want to see in Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And that's why I knew there was going to be problems. The way that it was staged, the entitlement, and then trying to represent people they don't represent. You know, maybe there's going to be a couple people that are like, oh, I would like to see that though. But I mean, overall, I don't think any of this is really positive for Pokemon and does really anything healthy for the game. You know, there's bigger issues that need to be addressed first. There's not enough time to implement pretty much any of this stuff because of Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I think it's just kind of adding more noise for Game Freak to ignore and then have people get upset about. So that's not really doing anyone any favors. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.